Diamond.
Souls.
Love.
How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to get into another topic. Topic number 3. What's topic number 3, Travis?
Communication.
All right, let's talk a little bit about communication today.
Man, this is a big one because it's just so many areas where we communicate. And mainly, I think we're talking about communicating with human souls. Communicating with your children, your spouse, your boss, your friends, your family, your coworkers. It's always in my past. I hadn't been able to communicate very well in my past because of this up here, my thinking I was right all the time, and not giving people a chance. Yeah. It comes down to basically that is the fact that respect. And when I talk today, especially to my kids, I've changed the way that I talk to my kids. I actually talk to my kids today instead of yelling at them, telling them not to do this. And I think they respond better when I just simply talk to them. And as far as kids are concerned, as parents, we're responsible for these little human beings, these little human souls, and the way they grow up. And I look at children today, and I question people's ability to parent. Trust me, I was not a good parent, but today I am learning to be just that parent. It's mainly through this and in the practice of the principles of my fellowship, and I'm learning to nurture my children and talk life into them or speak life into them, and and I can tell by the way that I talk to them, just them, that they respond better to it. Yeah. Than me being that angry, domineering person that I used to be. And I not that my kids are my friends. They understand that I'm their father, and I'm mainly talking about my 2 small children, and they respond to me better when I talk to them. And they're gonna make mistakes because they're children.
Yeah, people gotta understand. To me, there's 2 groups of people. There's passive people who do not like conflict. There's aggressive people who are quick to conflict, and I feel like me and Travis are both in that category, or we used to be. We're working on it.
Yes,
but I think being quick to anger like that is very selfish in conversation, because if you think about it, you're only focused on the fact that yelling and screaming and getting upset makes you feel better. You're not thinking about the way it makes them feel. So to his point with his children, if you're yelling at a child, a child's first reaction is going to be like, forget you, yeah. or something similar. It might not be that.
Intimidating.
It might intimidation, fear. Those are not ways to transfer lessons to your child. The way to transfer lessons to your child is to speak to them like an adult, to speak to them like you would a coworker who you just saw doing something wrong. Like if your kid does something wrong, speak to them, let them know why it's wrong, lay boundaries for it, and then punishment comes if they break the boundaries. But also, I think a lot of people don't think about positive reinforcement. We were just talking about this the other day at work. If they do something good, don't let it go unnoticed. Do not let it go unnoticed. If anybody does anything good for you, appreciation. Just point out the positive. Like if you have a kid and he's a little bit older and you see him give a homeless man $20, you should praise that behavior, because that is the kind of thing that you want to see your son or daughter doing.
And not only voice it, but show it.
Show it, yeah. And okay. I had a situation at work the other day, and this shows my old aggression. I'm going to say old aggression because just like Travis has mentioned before, old Cody would have handled this a different way. And, I'm trying to be slower to anger, and in some cases it's very hard, but you just got to take a breath and really think. I had a coworker at work the other day, come up and say something to me was disrespectful, but maybe I kind of overreacted, but I said something to him. This spawned an argument because, of course, he disagreed. He said it, and so we continued to talk for about 10 minutes about the same thing. We were getting kind of heated at first, but after a while, we started instead of there's a line when you reach this place where you can choose one of two ways. One, you can get aggressive because two people aren't seeing the same, like they're not seeing eye to eye. So in order to get somebody to see eye to eye with you, sometimes people get aggressive, people get angry. I chose the other way. I chose to calmly talk and let him know how I felt about the situation. And I asked Travis later if I handled it well. To me, I still don't know if I handled it well, but I know that it did not cross any boundaries. It did not cross any lines. I spoke. I put everything that I thought on the table respectfully. I never felt like I was disrespectful. I never said any names, and handling things this way is possible. For all you hotheads out there, I know there's tons of them. This is the way I think about it, okay? I think about it like this. We evolved, back in the day, it was always the strongest. It was always the physical power.
Survival of the fittest.
Yeah. I think things have changed. I think you do not have to be physically powerful. And honestly, I think that that is the wrong way to go about things. I feel like it is harder to handle something with your words. It's more difficult to handle something with your words because it's so easy to get up, lose your temper, and throw fists at people. It's so easy to do that. And that's your natural instinct. That's your natural reaction to anger. So I think that if you could really calm yourself down, learn how to even make a game out of it. Like, make a game out of it. I'm going to handle this with my words. And, I mean, I was asking him today, like, what do you think the time to fight is, like, when you think the right time to fight physically, like a physical altercation? And I don't know, what did we come up with?
Basically, what we come up with, it's got to be the last resort to
sure.
things. We got to set boundaries. And if a person don't know they crossed the boundary, then therefore we got to let that person know. Yeah. Communicate to that person that they just crossed this boundary, and please don't do it again. And I'd like to point out one thing that I've always had a problem with is the tone of my voice. When someone disagrees with me, I'm loud anyway. I used to be very aggressive and very spontaneous. I've had to change that about me. Now when I don't disagree with you, instead of coming out like, I come out, I have to actually pause, take many breaths, and keep my voice gentle and keep my voice low. Because I always get mistaken of yelling or screaming, and sometimes I just be animated. I'm loud.
Loud.
I'm loud. Period.
Yeah.
But now I recognize that character defect or flaw in me that people, because sometimes it doesn't matter what I say, it's the tone that I use is the only thing they hear. Oh man, he's being aggressive and angry and this and that. He's a problem.
Yeah.
But now today, man, believe it or not, I used to have problems on my job. And those of you out there watching that I used to work for, I had a problem.
Dang, man.
But man, I've been working for this company for a while now, almost a year, and I can only think of really one incident where it got me at that level. And I handled it the best I could. I didn't cuss. I didn't blow. But I got my point across. The best way I could. This was several months ago. I've even grown since then. Matter of fact, the person that my coworker, me and him, has talked several times about this situation. It's just a matter of respect. And I told him, be who you are, because I'm going to be who I am. I'm changing. I'm getting better. I'm evolving to a better person because of these rules, because of the 12 principles I follow in my fellowship, I'm evolving into a better person daily. So I even told my kid's mother that, you're not talking to the same person I was 2 years ago.
You're not going to get a rise out of me.
Yeah, right. You're just not going to do it today.
And
because I know that ain't the type of person I want to be.
yeah, and you've given away just enough, Travis, to where if the person we're talking about sees this video, they're gonna know they're gonna know it's them. And I just want for the record, we're talking about the same person. We're talking about the same person. So maybe it's not our fault. But here's the thing. Okay, I just wanted to I wanted to bring that story up because this was just the other day. But after this argument, after this argument was resolved peacefully, he pulled me to the side and he said, "Man, you made me think about something in a way that I've never thought about it. Like, I've never thought about the things you've said to me." So, and he said, "You know what? I apologize. I was wrong." And I told him, "Don't worry about it. We weren't wrong. Nobody was wrong. Nobody has to be wrong in an argument. Sometimes you come to an understanding. Sometimes it's a misunderstanding." So he told me, I made him think about something in a way he never thought about it. That made me feel great. But not only that, it made me realize that, it could have went a different way. If it was 5-10 years ago, it would have went a different way. So I'm just proud of myself for the way I handled it. I might not have handled it the best, but I handled it a lot better than I potentially could have. And I may have changed the way that he looks at altercations. I could have changed the way that he looks at the things that he says or the way that he says them, And to me, that's a win. And to me, that's us coming to an understanding. Like I said, he kept saying it when we were arguing, and I honestly hope he's watching this because I'm not going to say anything bad about him. He's a good dude. But he kept saying, all right, or you're not going to win this argument, or I haven't lost this argument. It's like, you don't have to win or lose an argument, man. We're working things out. We're talking things out. This is what we're doing. I'm telling you that the way that you said something didn't sit right with me, and there's no way to argue with that because it's the way that I felt about it. And just the conclusion of the argument, I was satisfied with.
Right. And so to conclude all this and conclude communication, there's always a way to get over a message. Sometimes we got to sit and think about it and really think about what we're about to say, how we're about to say it. And so it ain't about offending anyone, but, because sometimes you just got to say what you just got to say. And don't worry about that person taking offense because, if that person takes offense, that's on that person. Because once I've set a boundary and you know about it and you cross it, then it's up to me the way when you cross that boundary, instead of getting upset, it's a way to communicate that without getting upset where that person truly understands. And that's the point we got to get is to that understanding. Because, co-workers, husband and wives, all type of relationships out here where we must, people co-parenting, have to communicate.
Yeah, and there's different ways to communicate with each one of those, relationships. But, man, he brought up a good point that we didn't even talk about. We might even have to do a communication part too. But to me, it's if there's somebody in your life that you cannot solve a problem with through your words, then you probably shouldn't have that person be a part of your life. If they're going to constantly break your boundaries, and it should never, like he said, last resort should be physical altercation. There should always be a way to talk about these things and to handle these things with your words
and come to that understanding.
And it all comes down to respect. And there's a way for anybody, no matter your size or your stature, there's a way for anybody to command respect, and that's a big one. That's another topic we can talk about for another day, but it's how to command respect. And but the thing is, you can handle things through communication, and I think it's key. And I think communication is the foundation for relationships, honestly.
Right. And simple respect. If you give respect, respect can come back to you. But anyway, we'll see you next week.
Next week.
Diamond.
Souls.
Love.
Take it easy, guys.
Much love.